My name is Clint Hocking, and I'm a creative director working at Ubisoft here in Montreal. And I just got off of a panel with the CEOs and presidents of the various studios here in town, talking about corporate social responsibility and in-game development, particularly in Montreal. There's a lot of different facets of corporate social responsibility, obviously, and what we didn't talk about was things like trying to reduce paper waste and reduce electricity consumption and those kinds of topics, which are all things we all do, and we all do it very much. It wasn't a PR panel to talk about all the paper we recycle, right? It was a panel to talk about issues that are more important to us as the game industry in particular. One of the main issues was the fact that in that domain of corporate responsibility, we are uniquely positioned in that the content that we create, games, has the ability to speak to people. It's media, it's culture, right? And so I think the panelists for the most part agreed that the idea was that the most important thing we can do to be responsible is to empower our creators to say things that are meaningful to people, right? It doesn't, reducing the number of paper cups you use or whatever is reducing your impact on the environment. That's a good thing. We should do that, and we all do. But empowering creators isn't something that reduces your impact. It's something that gives back to the world. And we talked about how to sort of make sure we're empowering all of our creatives to say things that are meaningful to them and get those messages and ideas and feelings out to people in general. I think there's sort of two kinds of responsibility that I pay attention to as a game creator. One is that I obviously want to make games that are meaningful to people. I don't want to just make games just for laughs or just to make money or whatever. Lots of reasons to make games, but I want to make games that move people and challenge the way they think about the world and about their lives and about what's going on around them. That's one part. The other part is sort of what I've called before, like stewardship or custodianship of the medium itself, right? Game development's a young medium, and there's lots of things that we haven't figured out, lots of things that we could do badly, lots of decisions that we could make that can have far-reaching, long-lasting repercussions on what games can be in the future, right? And I think it's important that we act responsibly as developers to make sure we're not, turning games into something, creating an entire medium that maybe isn't what we want it to be for future generations, right? So we need to be careful in the decisions we make about how we design games, what kinds of content we put into games, to make sure we don't kind of set up a future that we might regret 50 years from now. As creators and as artists, we shouldn't be didactic. It's not our role to instruct people how to live, right? And I think that art that tries to be has historically failed, right? Art isn't about artists telling us how to live. Art is about artists looking at the world and expressing their feelings about it, and people interpreting that and perhaps getting new perspectives on life, right? So I think there's that's talking about stewardship and custodianship of the medium. I think I'm kind of against, I guess if I had to put it that way, the idea that we should be making games that teach people to be good citizens, or that teach people the importance of this or that or the other thing, because those are assumptions about what's important, right? What we should do, if you want people to, recycle, I don't think you need to make a game that shows people that recycling is good, right? I think you need to make a game that examines the notion of recycling and waste and all of that dynamic system in a way that allows people to understand it better and gives them feelings about it. You don't need to make an explicit, instructive, didactic statement. You need to give people a space with which to engage the problem so that they can explore it for themselves and develop their own feelings about it. Part of working in any collaborative medium, whether it's games or film or theater or any collaborative artistic medium, it's important to recognize that it's not just the vision of one person that makes a game. It's important to realize that I have a whole team of very creative people, also very technical people, and it's important to make room for their creative expression in the sort of overall vision that we're collaborating to create together. Not just make room for it, but to empower it and enable it, right? The most, what I have to say or what I think about whatever subject our game is about is just sort of my opinion, right? That opinion only gets stronger when I have to negotiate what that means with the other people on my team, and when I have to empower them to say their own things about that in the work that they do, right? So it's kind of like finding the collective the collective strength of that development team and getting them to all move in the same direction, and that's where the sort of that's what I think is beautiful about game development.
Yeah.